podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. So, I always like to start by you just giving us a bit of a background as to how you got into the industry and your brand and what you're doing today.
Cool. So, essentially, I came in the industry as a DJ. And after several years of kind of being a DJ, I realized there was kind of a lot more money in promotion and running your own events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I then focused on building a brand around myself and my DJ collective, which is called Ice Cream Family. And we basically started a brand called Ice Cream London. It was kind of like a transformation of a brand I started in Southampton, which is where I was living before. Brought it to London because I came here for uni and created essentially originally a student brand, and it's now kind of evolved into public, student and international party brand.
Okay.
So,
and the brand is, what's the concept behind the brand?
The concept, so because in Southampton, it's a very, very student heavy town. They love nightlife down there. So when we launched it in Southampton, we went down to Odeon, who owned, I think they had the contract for Ben & Jerry's. I think they still do. And we said to them, we've come up with this name called Ice Cream. Would you sponsor us? And they were like, fuck yeah, that sounds sick. So basically, Ben & Jerry's gave us like industrial sized tubs of ice cream at cost price. More ice cream than you can eat in a night. And we used to serve it. And that's how Ice Cream started. In the venue, in the venue. Venue manager, the first venue we worked at was called Bamboo Bar. Fucking loved us because he was getting like any excess ice cream, he was chomping it at the end of the night. Can you imagine? Like these are like, the tubs are incredibly big.
Yeah.
The industrial ones, they're massive. So when you see them like in the glass window, you don't realize how deep they are.
Yeah.
You buy one of those, and it doesn't get served on a night. That is like 10,000 calories worth of ice cream that you can just chomp away.
Exactly.
So that's how it essentially started. The concept was very married with the idea of serving ice cream, making it a very girl-friendly brand, if like quite a fluffy brand. That was it's quite interesting to even say that because we had to do that back then. If you're an urban brand and you're coming into the industry, everything has to be fluffy. You know, we couldn't.
So you've always been an urban brand back then, but it was
always
a different take on it, a different spin.
Yeah, it was kind of like, how can we make this an urban brand and create the mirage to the upper industry or like the police or the local authorities that this is just a student event, which is super fluffy and super easy to handle and whatever. Yeah. And it kind of just grew from there, and it just.
Do you still do the ice cream now?
Still do the ice cream now.
Yeah. A
lot harder to do because like the events, when they first started, we had like 200 capacity events, and now our biggest events are like 1,400 people.
Okay.
So the logistics are a lot different. Ice cream melts very quickly. Yeah. People arrive in one go, so you have to serve it in a particular time frame, otherwise it all goes to shit. But
you just mentioned there about sort of policing the nightlife there in Southampton.
Yeah. And urban events are not cheap to run, because we have to put in extra security measures, because venues are more on edge, and we pay premium hire fees, we pay premium security fees. So obviously that gets passed on to the customers. So we want them to have the best time they can. There's a lot of pressure to deliver. So having a venue manager texting you halfway through your set in the worst English language you can imagine, basically saying turn that fucking shit off or tone it down. And you're in your euphoric height of your night, playing the best songs of the moment, and they're telling you tone it down, and you're just there like, what the fuck, like this is some bullshit. Did you have
agreements with the venues before?
Absolutely not. Nothing in black and white. No. Nothing in black and white. But
do you put certain things in place to prevent measures in place?
Yeah, we're very professional at our events. Like we make sure that we don't like cut corners on anything. You know, like I've had friends turn up to my events like, oh bro, I don't have an ID, like can you pattern me? Bro, I'm sorry man, there's nothing I can do. If they don't get scanned, they don't come in. You know, we're very clear with everyone down to the artist. We tell the artist, look, entourage has to get a search, everyone has to have ID, this is the dress code, please respect the managers, security have final say. That's not because we want to be like, come across like, you know, we're not trying to look after our people, Uncle Tom's or whatever. We're just following the rules. The systems are there for a reason. Yeah. And often when things go wrong and venues get shut down, it's because someone cut a corner. You know, like we were working in a venue in central London, I'm not going to say the name of the venue, just under 2 years ago. and they had a New Year's Eve party. Wasn't our event, and they let in some celebrities, and the entourage kicked off massive fight. Bottles getting thrown. Someone got stabbed with a bottle. Guy that got stabbed with a bottle was a 17-year-old. Didn't ID him because he was entourage. They used the ID scanning system, everything, but because it was a friend of a promoter or something, they let him in. They let him in without scanning him. Lost their license. Gone.
Yeah.
Kid could have died. You know, kid could have died.
Yeah.
So this is like the good and the bad of licensing. Licensing, the rules are, can't argue with the rules. The rules are the rules.
Yeah.
The systems to support the rules are not as strong as they could be.
Okay.
And that's where the argument is. Throw in the fact that there's this big misunderstanding of our community and how, you know, we conduct ourselves, and how, let's call it a commercial community, how they don't understand us, and that divide in understanding. And you've got a 40-year-old head doorman who's never experienced time with someone in the urban community ever, not spent 10 minutes with someone in the urban community, doesn't like the word wagwan or blood, or do you know what I mean? Or looks at us like we're idiots. And then we're dealing with him on the front door.
Yeah.
And he's talking to everyone like they're pieces of shit. It's the worst combination. The worst combination. Then
do you get to say what type of, can you man your security?
We are not allowed to man our security. Most.
So if that happens though, surely then that's not beneficial for you, in the terms of if you do get a 40-year-old Big Dave and he's never interacted with urban people before, and all of a sudden, because he's roughed someone up the wrong way, they've instantly switched from I can't wait to go out and have a good time, and now because Matey Boy on the doors affected my mindset, they're now going to the club differently, and they've now got a bit of an edge towards them.
Right.
Is there an opportunity to prevent that at the door?
So it's really interesting that you say that, because that's a factor. If someone turns up in the best mood, and alcohol is a depressant, it's going to maximize your feeling. And if that feeling happens to be a negative feeling, you're going to feel really, really pissed off. So if you've turned up to a venue and you feel that someone has unfairly discriminated against you on entry, been racist to you, made remarks that were unnecessary, or just been a complete dick, you're going to carry that feeling with you if you go into the venue. And it does make it a bit edgy. And I've seen, well, we're definitely not allowed to provide security. Most of these venues have contracts with security firms. All these security firms are licensed. Yeah. We don't get to make those decisions. But in venues where I know the owner of the venue, or I know the manager of the venue, and they're working with a security team that is personally chosen, they work a lot better. Mm-hmm. They work so much better. Yeah. You know, what I like to see if I'm running an event is a diverse team. If I turn up and the entire team, not throwing any kind of prejudice in there, but if the entire team is white and I've got 1,000 black people coming down,
there's going to be something.
There's going to be a big miscommunication at some point, you know, and there's also just ways of speaking to people. I think security, we had a meeting yesterday with central licensing units and the Safer Sounds network that is being built to support, since the 696 has been pushed out, to support risk management of events. Right. And one of the biggest things that we spoke about was security companies. You know, we've now invited SIA to come down and be a part of the conversation to see how we can basically mitigate risk of elevated risk events. Which again, I've never spoken to a SIA representative or anyone that makes kind of like the rules when it comes to how your security are trained, how they manage customers, the depth of their knowledge to a community that's coming to their event. And it's very different, you know, like the way that you're going to deal with, let's say you were dealing with a gay night and you had 1,000 gay people coming out to have a party in a venue. It's very different to dealing with 1,000 Polish people coming out, very different to 1,000 Nigerian people celebrating Nigerian independence, whatever it might be. A reggaeton night, whatever it might be, you have to adapt and you have to be adaptable. We don't have that right now. Okay. We do not have that right now. And one of the biggest problems is shirt fillers. Shirt fillers, because they're either trying to increase their margin. What I mean by that is, like, some security firms, they're really greedy, and the way that they make their money they'll charge like the club X amount, and they will pay their workers, the security guards, they'll pay them an hourly fee.
Yeah.
And per security guard, like per hour, they might make like £2 or £3 per head or whatever. Obviously, if you can bring their fee down, you work with less experienced, less trained people, you make a higher margin because you get the same contract. So a lot of them are cutting corners.
Does that happen a lot?
Oh yeah, there's like we had the conversation yesterday, and there was an experienced security guard, been in the industry for 13 years, who spoke and said that there's not enough training. You're getting too many shirt fillers. There was an example that was given by the police who were leading the discussion yesterday of a pub that they went to, because like licensing, they visit venues all the time just to make sure shit is happening correctly. And they went up to the guy on the front door, the security guard, and they asked for the DPS, the license holder or the manager. This guy's shaking in his boots. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? I was like, well, where's the manager? I don't know. Where's the DPS? Oh, I don't know. Have you ever met him? No. Like, this guy had no idea what was going on. So they were really intrigued, started asking this guy questions, found the head doorman, only to find out that this guy had started working on the day. And during the day, he was drinking at the bar. And this guy was broken, jobless, and needed a job, made 2 phone calls to the head of the security firm. And he said, okay, cool. Can you start tonight? The guy was drinking in the bar on the day.
Yeah.
By the evening, he's working the door.
Yeah.
Like, that is the level of some establishments, some businesses. They don't take it seriously.
No.
Some people, they only have to do like I think it's like a 4-day course to get an SIA badge.
Right. So you're working, or you have a voice with some of these authorities to...
I have an opinion, which is more than I've ever had. Before it was like, I know that doesn't sound like much, but like the fact that I'm in the room is a big deal now.
Are things improving?
The groundwork is being laid.
Yeah.
So whereas before, a venue could come and tell me, oh, the police have pulled your event for XYZ reasons. Police didn't pull the event. These guys just found out it's an urban event. They decided...
You're going to put in events. You want to touch on your sort of recent...
Oh, gosh.
You had,
yeah. So even just like the thought of it gives me PTSD. Okay, so another big issue is artists and their profile and what happens when there's an incident related to an artist, or if it's even related to the artist. So I had a big event which was meant to happen in Uxbridge last month, and the event sold out so quickly. We introduced a second event, which was in Watford. So we did 1,400 tickets in I think it was 12 hours. So we introduced a second event, which we put in Watford. That event was 50% sold out. It was 600 tickets for that event. 2 days before the event, this artist had appeared at several shows up and down the country. He was on tour with Post Malone and was appearing at world-class arenas all over the United Kingdom. He did Ireland, he did Manchester, he did Birmingham, he did Glasgow. Comes to London, Monday does a show, great, O2 Arena, sold out show, amazing. Tuesday, decides to throw his own concert. Throws it in Brixton, and 3 stabbings happen inside the venue. Now, our show is meant to be on Thursday. Our show is like one of the official after parties, right? On the Tuesday, he ends up doing an after party at Ministry of Sound. I was told that that's technically because by the time the concert finished and all the drama had happened, Ministry of Sound had already had 1,000 people inside the venue. The concert finished at 11, they opened doors at 10.
Wow.
So they couldn't pull that show, but police turned up and were heavily aggressive with the promoters and the door staff at Ministry of Sound, urging them to pull the show. But literally within 6 hours, they made the decision that no after parties for this guy were going to happen. And
who made the decision?
That is a great question, because this is where police put you. As a promoter, you've got a contract with an artist. That contract is to perform a certain number of appearances within a town. They don't care what venue it's at. The contract is not essentially exclusive to a venue. So if a venue then turn around and say, we've heard XYZ, or we've got intelligence XYZ, and local licensing have contacted us, we have to pull the show. So in my case, what happened was local licensing, first thing in the morning, had approached the venue that I was working at and said, you've seen what's happened in the news. If you decide to go ahead with this event, we're going to give you a foreclosure notice. What that means is that they suspend their license for a period of time. And most venues, especially these commercial chains of venues, you cannot close these doors. It's a very, very big thing. And they lose a lot of money if they close these doors. So what ends up happening is we're in this like limbo of the police aren't telling you not to do the event, but they're saying if you do the event, you're fucked. And they're not going to risk it. Like I said, we're bottom of the barrel. Yeah. They don't give a shit about me. I had a £30,000 contract for these shows. And we're now in a situation where the artist was not like threatening, but said, look, in your contract, well, you're not entitled to a refund. I was like, what? So I'm going to have to refund all my customers because you've pulled a show the day before. So let's say it was even a break-even show, that's £30,000. And now you're going to take £30,000 and run away. Yeah. That's incredible.
So at that point though, surely it's the greed from the artist.
Oh, right.
No? Or the integrity?
This is the issue of the I don't want to call it, it's like the music industry has got so many loopholes. It was technically the greed of the agent. It wasn't the artist. Because we, even though these were American artists, we have connections and we can contact them. You know, we know people in the UK that know them or whatever. And to be fair, most of them, especially the grassroots ones, are quite responsive. If you know, like DM is amazing. You know, you can just hit someone up on Instagram or Twitter and be like, hey, like, your fans are fucking pissed, like what's going on? Yeah. And they'll respond to you, you know, they're decent people. Only to find out the artist never received the money in the first place. So we were being told by the agent that you can't have this money back because the artist doesn't want to give it back. Only to find out the artist never had the money anyways. So it was the agent. It's a lot of just bullshit. It's a lot of just people.
Just have to wipe your mouth and...
Oh no, we got the money back. Yeah, we got the money back. Very, very good. It was a long process. Yeah. There's just so many stupid like measures. Like they, even when they offered the refund, they were like, "Oh, you need to open a US dollar account so we don't have to pay exchange fees or whatever." I was just like, "Oh, it's just such bullshit."
Okay, we've been going a while now.
Yeah.
Spoken about the negatives, but it's a good negative in a way because it brings light on the issues.
Yeah.
You've been in the industry 10 years. You must obviously love what you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just wouldn't put yourself through this.
Yeah.
So why do you kind of put yourself through it?
It got to a point for me where, and like, I'm really proud of what I've done with my company. Fully self-employed, and my 9 to 5 is basically running events that, you know, I love to go to, and being the headline DJ at these events. You know, like it's a great feeling. You know, when we've got a sold out show, nothing comes.
You put yourself as headline.
Oh, but this is how we built. No, but I mean, this is how our brand grew. Some people grew their brand by putting headlines, like booking the biggest DJs at the time or whatever. Yeah. In my little bubble where I'm from, I was the biggest DJ. Yeah. And there was a point in time where my name was growing much faster than the brand.
Oh, wow.
So anytime I put my name on a flyer, that show would sell out. And then I came to a realization where, like, look, I want my team to eat from this one day. And if I decide to retire, I want to be able to carry this on. Like, I don't want to be 50 years old and DJing to students, do you know what I mean? So I pumped the brakes on building my name. Like, I kind of was quietly confident. I knew I was a good DJ, so I knew like opportunities would come anyway, and great opportunities have come without me focusing on like putting myself as a headline. I now DJ for Mo Stack and travel the country and the world with Mo, just supporting him and DJing for him. Mo Stack. Mo Stack, he's one of like the biggest UK rappers in the UK scene, the evolved kind of UK rap scene, and he's killing it. Like, he's this young kid who's just absolutely smashing it. Brilliant. You know, and he actually headlined one of our shows 2 years ago, heard me play for the first time, and then I got a phone call a couple of days later, like, yeah, we want you to be our tour DJ. So
how's your time amongst DJing for those sort of events, running your own events? How many events are you running at the moment?
I think last year we did almost an event a week. So we ran around 50 events.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of events.
Similar this year?
It's not similar this year.
No.
This year, we have definitely suffered from like licensing stepping in, and because that show that got cancelled, that show getting cancelled caused 4 shows to get cancelled. So it wasn't, this is, these are the knock-on effects and the complete misunderstanding and detachment between how licensing deal with the urban community. And let me tell you some really shocking facts. So a stabbing happened at the venue. I'm not going to drag the venue on this podcast, but the venue was open 2 days later. They had all of their lined up events went ahead as on schedule, right? This same venue, a person had died in this same venue just the year before for a drug overdose. Because the venue in Brixton had an incident, little old me over in Uxbridge had that show cancelled, the second show in Watford cancelled, went through all the stress of being in limbo whether I'm going to get my money back and being able to refund my customers. Tried to move the show and was blocked by every licensing borough in London, who said said the same thing to every venue: if you open doors, we will come and close you. And on top of that, the venue that we were originally meant to host the show at, they got so much stick from local licensing that they decided to cancel all events for the next month. Events we'd already announced that were happening next month, completely unrelated to what happened in Brixton, to have what they called a cool-off period, just to show that the police, this is how scared venues are of the police, just to show the police.
Do you blame the venue for doing that, or do you feel they have to?
It's a tricky one. Like, I aired how I feel to the venue. It wasn't the most pleasant conversation, because it was kind of like, oh man, like we've just taken a hit, not only in lost potential profits, but also, you know, like our brand. We don't cancel shows. We never cancel shows. Like, even if we're going to take a loss on a show, we don't cancel shows. Like, it's a big part of our brand. We deliver. We say someone's coming, they are coming. So to cancel it was a big punch in the gut for us. You know, we did everything we could to try and move that event, and just, we had a meeting with the police the next day, and they've got an amazing unit, an intelligence unit, central intelligence, who really support promoters like us, especially in the urban scene, and they try their best to provide information to local licensing to let them feel more like relaxed to push an event through.
With that club in Brixton, though, why do you think that stayed open? Pockets with the police? Are we treading on the ice?
You tell me. like I said, all I do know is, especially from this entire experience, that we are really the bottom of the barrel. Urban promoters are the least important people in the music scene. We are the least important. Okay. Like, no one will cry if we don't do an event. No one cares. And the people that do care, who have formed things like the Safer Sounds Network and local licensing, it's great, but in the immediate instance, it is very hard for us to understand, engage, and put a finger on something that is actually changing the current climate of events. It's a lot of discussions right now. It's a lot of people behind closed doors.
Are people just kind of putting 2 and 2 together and going, oh, they're all like that, quote unquote, and you know, if we...
What do you talk about, obviously we spoke about the problems you faced, the events you're hosting in London and the DJing, but you're also doing stuff in Ibiza as well, is that right?
Yeah. So on a more...
There's still the urban... It's quite unique for Ibiza.
Yeah. So kind of following on from when I was speaking about the brand and how I kind of took my name off of the brand and stuff, Ibiza is very relevant to that. Is I understood the mission of why I do what I do, and at a very kind of later stage, so 6 years into my whole career. But for the first 6 years, it was just fun. It was like, fuck it, let's throw some raves and let's have a great time. And I was the man on campus and whatever. And then you graduate and you start to think about what you want to do for the rest of your life and how you're going to have an impact and what's your legacy going to be and blah, blah, blah. And firstly, obviously, I've really identified the problems that we're facing within our community and how that affects the nightlife scene, but really starts from a very, very ground level. And then I kind of looked at how relevant that was outside of our community as well. And in Europe, it's probably worse. Like the racism and divide between cultures is unbelievable. You live in London, where I think the stat they gave us yesterday is over 50% of people are from an ethnic diversity. You know, we're from different walks of life.
That's around the country. I mean,
isolated events in different venues all throughout the season.
Right. So we work in. So it's a destination event. So it happens. It's going down from the 5th to the 9th of August. Right. One time of the year where we invite everyone from all over the world. In the past, our biggest attendees have actually come from New York. Right. We have a lot of Americans that come across that want to experience Ibiza, because Ibiza is a world famous place. Like if you think about it, it's kind of like the Miami of Europe, of like our little part of the world. Yeah. And people want to come over and experience it, but also want to hear like hip hop music. So yeah, we do it in a set time so people can plan for it. And Ibiza is not cheap, so it's one of those places where you have to plan for. You got to get your accommodation sorted, you got to get your flights sorted. Earlier you book, the cheaper it is. So we give people loads of time to like pay it off, and we make it a destination event. So if you miss it, you're definitely coming next year. You know, like we make it like a really big thing. Yeah. So yeah, and we work with world famous venues. You know, like Ocean Beach. We've done stuff with Ushuaia. We've attended. We were at Disturbing Ibiza, which was amazing. Taking all of our guests to Disturbing Ibiza just to experience Ushuaia. What an amazing venue. Amazing. We took our guests to High, which was across the road, and we did stuff with grassroots venues like Soul City. Like, what an amazing venue. If it could be double, triple the size, it would sell out every night. And it's even funny because when you think about it, you go over there and you ask a native person from Ibiza where to go and where not to go. They say, don't go San Antonio. Mm-hmm. It's full of the urban guys. It's the gutter. It's where, you know, the strip, it's a shithole. And I'm there like, I fucking love San Antonio. What are you talking about? And it just shows like, so here's one of the most amazing parts of what we're trying to do in Ibiza, and why, obviously I'm going to talk up my brand, but why, if you haven't checked out Ibiza Meltdown, you need to check it out, is we're actually challenging that as well. We're packaging our events into one wristband. So first of all, some of these events, to get into these events is like 60 to 100 euros for one event, right? We've got a 5-day wristband, which started at 199 euros. And on the higher end is, I think, just under 300 euros. Gets you into everything. Yep. And there are some additional add-ons if you wanted to like experience other parts of Ibiza, like if you wanted to do the boat parties and stuff. And on top of that, like we have done deals with local businesses. We've got like a brunch event that's happening, which gets like unlimited Prosecco, a meal and a party for 29 euros.
A bottomless brunch.
What the fuck? Like, honestly, I'm not even exaggerating. You go to Ushuaia and you buy a beer is 13 euros. So you buy 2 beers and you've already done that budget. Do you know what I mean? So that's one of the things that we're trying to do, is to provide value to the urban community, because we've not really got wealth like that in our community. So when people are coming out, we appreciate that, like you have worked hard to pay for this shit. Yeah. And it's the same thing in the UK. When I do an event and I'm charging 25 to 30 pounds a ticket, that is a serious event. Like, I'm not just ripping people off. Like, I'm not just going to do it because, hey, like I want to make 30 grand this month. Like, no, like it is very much a value return system.
If you've got the big acts in, then you need to cover those costs.
Yeah, but like I said, I really feel like music is a healing factor right now. You know, just exactly what you said about Ibiza. Like, you can go out there and it's just no one, like, whereas maybe 10 years ago, you go out there, if you're a big group of urban guys from London or black guys, you're going to be frowned at and then be like, what are you guys doing here?
It was massively that. The only thing, as I say, is sometimes people's misconception, especially in the UK festival scene, there are certain festivals that attract, let's say, the urban community, and people who aren't used to that do feel intimidated. And that's one of the only things as well that kind of gets people's back up in a way. And it's because if you're all there, you're in the tent having a rave, you see 10 hench black geezers behind you, and they're not there to rave, they're there to rob, they're there to cause trouble. Instantly, whenever you see a group of black males, no matter where you go in the world, that's your experience. Right. I think it's about trying to shift people's mindset from that not everyone's like that. You get good and bad in everything, black, white, whatever. Yeah. But I think it's when you'll go to the UK festivals and it does feel quite intimidating at times for people
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the things you see.
I can understand it, and obviously I've grown up around black people. I love black people. I love everything about black culture. My favorite food is from black culture.
Sure.
My girlfriend is black, and half of my family is black. So for me, it was very easy to understand and connect with black people. Now, I get where you're coming from because, like I said, I went to private school. My first clubbing experiences were in Winchester. Like it wasn't very, urban oriented. They're listening to Blue Cantrell and Sean Paul, and that's as deep as it got. Fucking Fat Man Scoop, Be Faithful. That's as deep as it got. So I understand it. But it's when you're on the other side and you're in the deepest of deepest, gulliest of gulliest, grimiest of grimiest raves, where the music is so raw and so authentic, it's just brilliant. Like, I can't explain it. Like, it's just, if you're not from it, it's easy to be intimidated by it.
Yeah.
And you can tell when someone's intimidated by it. Like, I brought one of my friends, he was a graphic designer, we were working on a clothing line, to one of the events I was playing at. It was at Sound nightclub, which was in Leicester Square, closed down like 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he looked like he was a deer in headlights. The whole time he was there, he was like, I'm the only white guy here. I was just like, why does that matter? Yeah. Why do you care about that? Why do you focus on that? But to address the fact that if people have had bad experiences with big groups of urban people or black guys or whatever, again, I'll rewind it all the way back to the root. Black people in the UK and around the world, there's been a lot of oppression for a long time. And there has been a big fight to just be themselves without being persecuted or without being judged or being in an environment and not feeling like that person thinks I'm going to rob them. Mm-hmm. Like, we would walk the streets in Bristol, my two best friends, Leon and Dwayne, twins, and we'll be walking down Colchester Road, and literally people are crossing the street because they're afraid of us, because they see a group of guys, and we're just catching joke, we're just talking rubbish, but we'll get upset, like we'll be angry, like, why are you crossing the road? Yeah. Like, I might as well rob you, I might as well, like, I feel to cross the road and rob you because I might as well have done it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you made up your mind that I'm that kind of person.
Yeah. And what is the happiest part of this job? Not job, what is the happiest part of the business for you?
The happiest part of the business for me is being a pioneer that is successfully pushing forward hip hop, urban culture, urban music. I know I've spoken a lot about the negatives today, but I feel like when I do get platforms and chances to speak about it, I have to. It's really important to. But there's a lot of fun in it. There's so much fun in it, and being a part of, especially the UK scene right now, being a part of that journey. Yeah. We have this theory in Ice Cream at the moment where once you've played an Ice Cream event, you're going to become super successful. Right. And I'm going to backtrack this theory so you know that where it's come from and that it's actually fucking true. Mm-hmm. So Krypton Conan played our Halloween party, I think it was 2013, went the day after won a MOBO award and are now super successful. Mo Stack played at Ice Cream Party. It happened on Halloween again. It must be something about Halloween. Again, didn't win the MOBO, but went on to be super successful and got the best DJ in the world. NSG, they played at Ice Cream Party in September 2018 and went on to have a top 10 by the end of the year. Yeah. Tion Wayne has played several Ice Cream events this year. The first one he played, he went to jail a couple of weeks after that. But when he came out of jail, he played one of our events, which we were really humbled for him to do. And he's now killing it, top of the charts. He's got 2 songs right now in the top 20. Oh, wow. Who else? We missed some of the greats though. We didn't get a show with Stormzy. He blew up too quickly. Dave, didn't get a show with Dave. Yeah. But most of the artists that we've worked with, as soon as we've done a show with them, they've gone on to have like huge commercial successes. I'm just putting the theory out there, guys. If you're an artist and you haven't yet performed at an Ice Cream event, it's a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. Yeah. The business side of it, I really love business. Like I'm quite good with numbers. Like at school, I was really good at math. So building a business and growing a business has been a journey, but I find it to be one of the most interesting and rewarding parts of running your own business. Like, it's just such an interesting thing to see something that you conceived and have built from the ground up get to a level, and then you think, okay, cool, what's next? What can I do? What's the next thing? So that really keeps me motivated. I have an amazing team. My team's the best team. We literally are like this massive group of people that get to run events, have a lot of fun together, get to do road trips to venues up and down the country, and just live the lifestyle, like the ice cream lifestyle. It's just, we call the entire network the Ice Cream family. But yeah, like, I'm now in the process of expanding it and sharing the journey with other people, friends who've wanted to invest for ages, and now new lines of business and routes of business. I've taken like the most serious people on. They say you shouldn't do business with your friends. I am lucky enough to be able to do business with several of my friends. With a very respectful relationship and a really, really hungry environment. Like, we're really, really passionate about what we do. And we're very selective. Like, we don't just do everything. Like, we get offered to do events by venues all the time. Some of them are like, oh yeah, come and do a weekly event, come and do a regular Friday or Saturday night. For us, it's more about having an impact every time we do something. And also going through the struggles. Like, 2019 started off really, really tough for us. It started off amazing. We sold, like, that show was the fastest show we've ever sold out, ever. 12 hours, 1,400 tickets. It was unbelievable. And so it was technically the most successful start to a year ever, and then it was the worst start to a year ever. But you know, I woke up today, so I'm happy. You know, like, it kind of, business is business. Like, after it, it's kind of why you do what you do, and as long as you're happy and you're healthy and your family's good, like, money comes and goes. So I'm not really stuck on when business goes left. It has had its purpose in sparking this massive conversation about, discrimination within the entertainment industry. So it has had a positive out of it. But yeah, man, like, I do really love what I do. I really do.
No, we appreciate you being on the podcast.
No, I appreciate you guys having me, rambling on for an hour.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.